everybody, and welcome back to The Deep Dive. You know the drill. We get a stack of sources and pull out the most interesting stuff. And, well, today we're diving into a topic that I think you'll find really fascinating. It's self-concept and manifestation.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, we've got research articles, personal anecdotes, even some techniques to try out. The big question is, how much do our beliefs about ourselves actually shape our reality?
Yeah, and what's really cool is that we're not just talking about, like basic positive thinking. We're going to get into how self-concept really acts like a blueprint for our whole experience, almost like an internal compass guiding our thoughts and emotions and even the opportunities that come our way.
Okay, I'm hooked already.
Good.
So let's break this down.
Yeah.
We hear self-concept all the time, but what are we really talking about here?
So it's definitely more than just how we see ourselves. It's a powerful force that operates on like these multiple levels. You've got the self-image, which is literally how we picture ourselves, right? Then there's self-esteem, how much value we place on ourselves. And then there's the ideal self, who we aspire to be.
Yeah.
All of these things, they work together to create this complex map that guides us.
Okay, so it's like a multi-layered map.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if our self-concept is like outdated? Like an old map leading us in the wrong direction.
I love that analogy.
Yep.
That's exactly right. If our self-concept is stuck on, limiting beliefs or negative experiences from the past, it can really hold us back from our full potential. And that's where this whole idea of manifestation comes in. It's the idea that what we believe to be true about ourselves in the world can actually influence our reality.
Okay, things are getting really interesting now.
Yeah.
So if I'm always like putting myself down, am I actually making it less likely that good things will happen to me?
You've hit on a huge point. It's like trying to build a house on a shaky foundation. One of the sources had this example. Imagine you're affirming, I am in a loving relationship. But deep down, you believe you're not worthy of love.
Oh.
So you're sending mixed signals to your subconscious mind, and that can create a lot of conflict.
Makes sense.
Which hinders the manifestation.
So how do we even start to like update this map, this self-concept? It feels like some of these beliefs are pretty ingrained.
Yeah, they can be tough to change, but it is possible. And the sources actually give some pretty cool techniques for doing just that. One of the most popular ones is affirmations. But it's not just about mindlessly repeating positive phrases.
I tried those I am powerful affirmations before, and it always felt a little, superficial.
I get it. The real power of affirmations comes from feeling the truth behind the words. It's about convincing your subconscious, not just your conscious mind. One source had this story about a woman named Sarah who transformed her whole dating life using affirmations. Instead of focusing on finding the one, she started affirming, I am a queen deserving of princess treatment.
Wait, and that actually worked. Like, what happened?
She started attracting partners who treated her with total respect and adoration.
Wow.
It's an amazing example of how shifting your self-concept can create real, tangible changes.
Okay, I'm starting to get how this all works. But affirmations are just one piece of the puzzle, right? What other techniques were in the sources?
Well, visualization is another powerful one. This is where you vividly imagine yourself living your ideal reality, like engage all your senses and really feel the emotions as if it's happening right now.
So like making a mental movie where you're the star?
Yeah, exactly. It's like giving your subconscious a brand new script to follow and imprinting those experiences and beliefs. And, our sources even had some specific visualization exercises you can try. One that I thought was really interesting was visualizing yourself successfully navigating a situation that usually triggers those limiting beliefs.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
It's like mental rehearsal for real-life challenges.
Exactly. And it helps to reprogram those automatic negative responses. Speaking of reprogramming, have you ever heard of SATs?
SATs?
State akin to sleep.
Oh, yeah, I have. But I don't really get how it works. Is it like hypnosis?
Kind of. It taps into the heightened suggestibility of the subconscious. The idea is that you consciously plant those seeds of your desired reality just before you fall asleep. It's a time when your mind is super receptive to new suggestions, so you can visualize repeat affirmations or even listen to guided meditations.
So you're basically programming your subconscious while you sleep. That's smart. This all sounds like a lot of ongoing work, though. Is changing your self-concept a one-time thing, or is it more of like a continuous process?
Definitely a journey, not a destination. It's all about creating daily practices that keep reinforcing those new beliefs. Yeah. Like morning affirmations, journaling about what you're grateful for, even just paying attention to how you talk to yourself all day.
That self-talk piece seems so important. If we're constantly criticizing ourselves, we're reinforcing those old negative beliefs.
It's like having a little gremlin on your shoulder constantly whispering doubts and negativity. A big part of this work is recognizing those thought patterns and choosing something better.
So we've talked about what self-concept is and some techniques for changing it. But why should our listeners care? What's the big takeaway here?
This is where it gets exciting. When you change your self-concept, you're not just changing your thoughts, you're changing your whole experience of life. Relationships improve, opportunities show up, you feel more confident, resilient, more aligned with your true potential.
Whoa, it's like a total life upgrade.
Exactly, and our sources have some crazy examples of how this plays out. For example, someone with a strong self-concept as a leader, they don't just dream of leading, they naturally step into leadership roles. They attract opportunities because they radiate confidence and competence.
It's almost like their internal belief system is shaping their external reality.
That's exactly it. And it applies to all areas of life, relationships, career well-being. It's about creating a self-concept that supports the life you actually want to live. It's not even just about achieving things on the outside. It's more about how you feel about yourself, no matter what's going on around you. Someone with a really solid self-concept can handle challenges and setbacks way better.
Yeah, that makes sense. They see those experiences as chances to grow instead of like personal attacks. Because their self-worth isn't tied to what other people think.
Exactly. One of the sources even connects self-concept with emotional intelligence. It says a strong self-concept helps us manage our emotions better so we can respond to things with more clarity and purpose.
So it's not just about feeling good about yourself. It's about understanding yourself better and how you fit into the world.
You got it. And that brings us to something that I think a lot of people struggle with, that whole idea of worthiness.
Oh, yeah.
So many limiting beliefs come from this feeling deep down that we're just not good enough.
I can relate to that. It's like this fear that we don't deserve good things or success or whatever.
That's exactly where self-concept work comes in. It's about choosing to challenge those beliefs and replace them with something that lifts you up.
Okay, so where do we even start? It feels like some of these beliefs are so ingrained they're hard to even notice.
You're right. It's a process. The sources say you can start by just becoming more aware of your self-talk. Like pay attention to those automatic thoughts that pop up all the time. What are you saying to yourself? What stories are you telling yourself about who you are and what you can do?
Oh, that's a good idea. It's like taking inventory of your inner voice.
Exactly. And once you've figured out those negative patterns, you can start to question them. Like ask yourself, is this thought actually true? Where did this belief even come from? Is it helping me or holding me back?
I love that. It's about checking if those old beliefs are even real. And what about replacing the negative thoughts with positive ones? Is that where affirmations come in?
Yeah, affirmations can be super helpful for rewiring those thought patterns. But it's not just about saying the words. One source emphasizes the importance of really feeling the truth of what you're saying.
So it's not just saying I am confident, it's actually feeling confident in that moment.
Exactly. It's about embodying the feeling, seeing yourself as that confident person,
Right.
aligning your thoughts and feelings and actions with the self-concept you want.
So it's a combination of mindset and action.
Yeah, one source had this great phrase, acting as if.
Oh, I like that.
It means acting like the person you want to become, even if you don't totally feel it yet.
Yeah.
Taking those steps and making choices that match your desired reality.
So if I want to be more confident, I should start acting more confident, even if I'm feeling a bit nervous inside.
That's the idea. It might feel weird at first, but the more you act in line with that self-concept, the more your mind starts to believe it too.
Like you're proving it to yourself.
Yeah.
And were there any other techniques besides affirmations and visualization?
One that really stood out was the power of gratitude.
Gratitude.
Yeah, it seems simple, but it can have a big impact on your self-concept.
How so?
When you focus on what you're grateful for, you shift your attention away from what you don't have and towards all the good things in your life. You start to see your own value.
So it's like training your brain to see the positive in yourself and your life.
Yeah.
And the more you do it, the more good things you attract.
Exactly. It's a positive feedback loop. And it's not just about feeling thankful, it's about showing that gratitude in how you act and treat others.
Oh, that's nice. So expressing that gratitude to yourself and to others.
Yeah, and when you do that, you raise your own energy and draw in more positivity.
This all comes back to manifestation, right?
Totally. One of the key principles of manifestation is that you attract what you are. So the more you cultivate those good vibes like gratitude and love and joy, the more you'll experience things that reflect that.
So it's not just about wishing for things to happen. It's about becoming the kind of person who attracts those things.
You got it. It's about making your inner world match the reality you want to see.
This is making a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But were there any, pitfalls to watch out for on this self-concept journey?
That's a great question. And yeah, they mentioned a few. One common mistake is getting so fixated on the end goal that you forget to enjoy the process.
So it's about finding the joy and becoming a better version of yourself even when it's tough.
Yeah, exactly. Celebrate the small wins, acknowledge your progress, and be kind to yourself along the way.
Self-compassion is key. Another trap I can imagine falling into is comparing myself to others.
Oh yeah, that's a big one. It's easy to look at other people and feel like you're not doing enough or you're not where you should be.
Yeah, it's that whole social media comparison thing.
Right. And it can really mess with your self-concept. Remember, everyone's on their own journey. It's not about comparing yourself to others. It's about focusing on your own growth and celebrating your own wins.
Stay in your lane. Focus on your own path. So did the sources give any advice on dealing with setbacks or those times when self-doubt creeps in? Because those are going to happen, right?
Of course. One of the most important things is to remember that setbacks are normal. They're not failures, they're opportunities to learn and adjust.
So it's about seeing them as valuable lessons.
Exactly. And when those doubts come up, it's super important to practice self-compassion. Talk to yourself the way you would talk to a good friend who is having a hard time.
Offer yourself encouragement and understanding and support.
Yeah. Remind yourself of your strengths and what you've already accomplished, all the amazing things that make you unique and worthy. And don't be afraid to ask for help from others.
That's such good advice. Sometimes talking to a friend or a therapist or someone you trust can help you see things differently and remind you that you're not alone.
Totally. And building a strong self-concept is a journey, not a destination. It's about constantly growing and learning and discovering more about yourself. It's about accepting all parts of yourself, the good and the bad, and choosing to see yourself with love and acceptance.
It's about becoming your own biggest cheerleader. And when you do that, you create this wave of positivity that affects everything in your life.
And the best part is that this journey is open to everyone. It starts with deciding to see yourself differently, believing in your worth, and stepping into your full potential.
It's not about becoming someone else. It's about discovering the amazing person you already are.
You got it. And when you do that, you unlock this power inside yourself that can transform your life and the lives of people around you.
It's pretty amazing to think about all the possibilities that open up when we really embrace the power of self-concept and manifestation. But as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'd love to hear more about how a changed self-concept affects different areas of our lives.
Oh, that's a great question. And I think it's the perfect time to look at some real-life examples of how this work can show up in relationships and careers and health and even our spiritual connection.
Okay, so let's get into those examples.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with relationships. How does having a stronger self-concept actually change how we connect with others?
It's pretty amazing, actually. The sources say that when you truly value yourself, you naturally set healthier boundaries. Mm-hmm. You're less likely to put up with disrespect or stay in relationships that aren't good for you.
Because you know your worth and you're not afraid to walk away from something that doesn't align with that.
Exactly. And it's not about being arrogant or selfish or anything. It's about honoring your own needs and desires. And when you do that, you tend to attract people who are on the same wavelength.
You raise your standards and you attract people who meet those standards.
Yeah, one source told this story about a woman who always seemed to end up in codependent relationships. After doing some self-concept work, she realized that she was attracting partners who needed fixing because deep down she didn't believe she was worthy of being loved just for who she was.
That's a big realization. So by changing her beliefs about herself, she changed the whole pattern of her relationships.
Exactly. And that's just one example. The sources also talk about how a strong self-concept can improve communication in relationships. Mm-hmm. You're more likely to express your needs clearly and assertively, and you can handle conflict better.
Because you're coming from a place of confidence and you're not afraid to be vulnerable.
Exactly. And this isn't just about romantic relationships. It applies to friendships, family dynamics, even work relationships.
So let's talk about career. How does this self-concept shift impact our professional lives?
Well, imagine going into a job interview with the absolute certainty that you are the perfect person for that job.
Ooh, I like that.
The sources say that kind of confidence, which comes from a strong self-concept, is really powerful. You're more likely to go for it, take risks, pursue things you're passionate about, and negotiate for what you deserve.
So that inner belief really does translate into outer success.
Totally. One source even talked about the link between self-concept and being an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. They found that entrepreneurs with a strong self-concept are more likely to stick with it through the tough times, adapt to changes, and ultimately achieve their goals.
Because they believe in their vision and they believe in themselves.
Exactly. And this is true, even if you're not an entrepreneur. If you believe you're capable and worthy, you're more likely to take initiative, step up into leadership roles, and really share your talents.
Okay, so we've covered relationships and career. What about our overall well-being? How does self-concept affect that?
That's a huge one. One source had a really interesting section on the mind-body connection. It talked about how our beliefs about ourselves can actually impact our physical health. Like if you're always telling yourself you're stressed out, your body might respond by producing more cortisol and all those stress hormones.
So our thoughts can literally create physical changes in our bodies.
Exactly. And on the other hand, if you focus on positive beliefs about your health and well-being, your body is more likely to follow suit.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, but for our health.
Right. And it's not just physical health, it's mental and emotional well-being too. A strong self-concept can help you deal with tough emotions, bounce back from setbacks, and just have a more positive outlook overall.
It's like having this inner strength to help you cope with whatever life throws at you.
Exactly. And that leads us to another interesting aspect, the impact of self-concept on our spiritual side.
Ooh, I'm curious about that one.
One of the sources suggested that when you have a really clear sense of self and a strong connection to your values, you're more likely to feel a sense of purpose and meaning in life.
Like you're living in alignment with your soul's purpose and being true to yourself.
Exactly. And that can lead to this deep sense of peace and joy and fulfillment no matter what's happening around you.
This has been such a fascinating conversation. I feel like we could talk about this all day. But as we wrap up this deep dive, is there one final thought you want to leave our listeners with?
I think the biggest takeaway is that you have the power to choose the story you tell yourself about who you are. And that story, your self-concept, will shape your reality in ways you might not even realize.
So it's about becoming the author of your own story, changing those limiting beliefs, and choosing a more empowering narrative.
Exactly. And remember, it's a journey, not a destination. Be kind to yourself, celebrate your wins, learn from the challenges, and never stop believing in yourself.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into self-concept and manifestation. We hope this conversation has inspired you to start your own journey of self-discovery and transformation. Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep shining.